drowning in this map. Tracing out control. Help me out right now.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Please, you can kill it.
Nobody trusts anybody now.
Come on, you want to live forever?
I got a really bad feeling. Godzilla will live.
And welcome back to the 105th episode of the Monster Movie Stompdown. Of course, you got your host Sludge here, co-host across from me,
It's the Lorax.
and the Grand Master from Texas.
You got Ruben.
And we have got the next Gamera film in the series. We're going back through and doing the Showa series since we've already done the Heisei in preparations for the new Gamera anime series coming out, Rebirth, which we still have no idea when it's actually dropping. Like, we've gotten the full trailer and just the coming soon, and it's supposed to be this year, but no clue when, but it looks freaking awesome. Have you guys watched the trailer yet for that, Gamera Rebirth?
I haven't seen it, no.
Oh, you haven't seen the trailer
I
yet?
have not seen the trailer yet.
Ruben, you saw the trailer?
I did see the trailer.
Oh, okay. Well, then, you know what? Since Mark hasn't seen it, why don't y'all check it out with us? Here's the trailer for Gamera Rebirth.
生存者は死体すらないぞ。逃げた方がいいんじゃないか。このまま放っておいてか。下水道はまずいぞ。まだそれほど大きくなってないはず。C 5地点の3体はすでに壊滅。航空支援はあと10分ほどです。わかりました。対処します。おい、誰か応答しろ。
どうかした？メガネがどこかへ。
すげえ情報があるんだ。
え、本当？
はしゃぎすぎだろ。なんだよこれ。突如出現した飛行物体、急上昇しています。何？遺憾ながら悪い状況は重なる。
近づいてきますよ。まさか。
波の危険手当てではやってられんぞ。
All right, and that was the trailer for Gamera Rebirth. So, all right, Lorax, what'd you think of that?
Man, that looks outstanding. I cannot wait for that to come out.
Yeah,
it's definitely going to be good.
It's going to be freaking sweet.
A lot of action there.
Oh yeah, and I love it. I wonder if like that's Jiger in the beginning when they're like all those people were dead and those two dudes were like looking in a hole. But either way, you see Jiger in the trailer and he looks freaking sweet compared to how he looked in the Showa series, which we're still a few movies away from that one. But that'll be interesting to see. So yeah, Gamera fighting 5 kaiju in 6 episodes.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
Is anybody who made this, was any of them involved in Godzilla Singular Point or any of those Godzilla animes? Because I did not like either one of those two.
I think as far as the art crew, story-wise, no.
Okay, that's all I know. The art crew's fine, but man, if anybody involved with that story is involved, it already gets the stomp rating.
It's already getting knocked. So
already
as far as I know, the production crew, like as far as the artwork and the animation studio itself, I think it's the same studio that was for the first one. But story-wise, no, not at all. But it looks pretty great.
But I did have a problem with the Jet Jaguar design in Singular Point. I did not like it. I don't know what you guys thought, but I didn't like it.
I wasn't a huge fan of the Jet Jaguar design. I liked the concept of how they handled Jet Jaguar, but no, I did not like the design itself. But like the concept of them using him and then he's growing through, or he grows not to the last episode, was really, really cool. I loved Singular Point because Singular Point was like all the chaos and craziness of Toho science, as Pete calls it. from Good Movie Movie Night. Yeah, it was all just chock full of it, and I was like, this is fantastic. But no, Gamera Rebirth looks phenomenal. I love the design of Gamera in it. Jiger looks phenomenal. Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see if they're doing, because he's going to fight 6 or 5 kaiju in 6 episodes, and so I'm wondering, are all 5 going to be like classics? Because you've got enough from the Showa to cover, well, from the entire series to cover it. Or is there going to be new guys? I mean, obviously Jiger's in it. Gyaos is going to be in there. I mean, Gyaos is Gamera's Ghidra. You know what I mean? So he's been in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 films. Technically 6 if you count Super Monster, because Super Monster was like, clips from all the films from the show era. But 5 original films he was in. No, it was 6. I forgot. Gamera the Brave. He's in the intro scene of that, isn't it? Isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's right. Did you watch Gamera the Brave?
No, I have not.
Okay, so Gamera the Brave at the very beginning is takes place in like the 70s or whatever, because the main character, it shows the main character's dad. That's a little boy in the movie. It's when his dad was a kid and saw the first Gamera fighting Gyaos. So 6 films, and that was super cool design they did there. More old school Showa Gyaos design in that one, but so he was in Gamera the Brave. Forgot about that. No, and then he's in the short film. Clearly, Gyaos is the Ghidra to Gamera. We're not there yet. We are close. We are on the 2nd film. Gyaos makes his appearance on the next Gamera film that we do. But this time again, we're doing Gamera versus Barugon. And before we jump into that, though, there's something I want to discuss because it is going around everywhere. It's the talk of the town for us monster movie fans, and that is they finally dropped the teaser for Godzilla. Actually, it's Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. And if you haven't seen the teaser, go watch it. It's like a 1.5 minutes long, just super quick, super intense. And there's a lot of theories running around right now. But so the trailer is pretty easy. You get a shot of an ape in Hollow Earth sitting on a throne, and as it zooms out, you got all of these skulls and bones and things, and then it pans out, and you see Godzilla and Kong skulls side by side, and then it says Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, and then you see a shot of this new ape's eyes, and they glow blue like Godzilla does. So clearly he's got the same energy that Godzilla does. Real quick, I mean, very intense. But what did you guys think of it?
Go ahead, Ruben.
I sat and watched it over and over again, trying to figure out if that's actually an ape sitting on the throne. He is sitting on Kong's throne. He is hairy, but his arms are so long, almost like a Muto.
Very
his
long.
arms are long. Very long arms, very long legs. Not very. He's like a very skinny ape as compared to Kong, a gorilla of great build and broad chest. This one doesn't look that way, so I'm like, this is obvious to me. It feels like it's something other than just an ape. Like you mentioned, the blue eyes. This is some kind of hybrid to me. And where it came from or how it came to be, I don't know, because I have heard the movie is going to be kind of an origin type story. You're going to hear the origin story, I guess, of Godzilla, Kong, and Apex Predators, maybe of all the, monsters that are on Earth. So I'm wondering if that's alluding to that rather than what the movie's actually about. So that's my bunch of theories thrown around.
Mark, what about you?
Well, just watching it gets your adrenaline just flowing.
Oh, yeah, it did.
I mean, you just get all kinds of excited. And I'm not really sure. And I kind of agree with Ruben, is maybe this is an origin story, backline, and figure out where it all started, where it came from, which to me, the Godzilla and Kong that you see the skulls of in them aren't the Godzilla and
Kong that we know.
That we've seen. I don't know, something to see. It's exciting, though. It is exciting.
There's a lot going on as far as theories around the web, for sure. Because originally the film was shot underneath the subtitle Origins, which is where we're supposed to see the origins. Now the theories is like, are we seeing the origins of the Hollow Earth, or are we seeing the origins of the war between the Godzilla and the Kongs?
This
Titan tied to that. There's theories of him being the one who revolted and started the war against the Godzillas, and he's still living down there.
Very biblical there.
Right? Yeah. So like, there's that theory. There's theories going on about his intelligence level, because the people are breaking this down like crazy. And I watched one from Dangerville, who's a big Godzilla fan, YouTube channel. If y'all haven't seen his stuff, check it out. It's really he's got a good little channel there. They've enhanced the audio, and there's a point in there where towards the end when you hear him, it sounds at first like he's just breathing, but it sounds like he speaks, and it really sounds like he says the word hunger. And I was like, that's hard to miss, so there's a lot of theory going on about who this Titan is. Is he the one that started the war? Does he feed on their Titans, or who knows what's going on? I don't know. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens. And is he going to be powerful enough to take on Godzilla and Kong? Because this time around, it's not Godzilla versus Kong. They have to team up, to fight this guy, or maybe this guy and a horde of other Titans. I don't know. But I mean,
he may be. Yeah, he may have a rebel faction somewhere, waiting to attack.
Well,
I was kind of. Go ahead.
Well, the studios aren't bringing nothing out other than teaser. So I mean, it's dead silent. So, wow, I'm just going to try to figure out.
Because I was excited for the origin stories because in Godzilla, Kong, and in Godzilla King of the Monsters, all the Titans are basically in ice or buried, or they're all there. So like, are we going to see where King Ghidorah actually makes his first appearance, or into this war that's going on? Is it kind of like please forgive me, I've already forgotten. Kind of like the Godzilla. What was it called? Earth. That first anime that came out.
Planet of the Monsters.
Planet of the Monsters. Are we going to have something like that where these creatures are, Godzilla's just, king of Earth, and all of a sudden, and Kong, of course. And then you have King Ghidorah up here, and all this other stuff. It's just so many possibilities.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting to see. Like, they're keeping things very mum, obviously, until we get another full-length trailer. But so there's tons of speculation. It's going to be freaking great. Everything that they've talked, what little has been discussed or they've released from the film, as far as like, the cast and crew talking about it or things like that, is that this is I've seen a couple comparisons to Star Wars, as in the level of epic that this is unlike anything we've seen thus far in the MonsterVerse. So I'm really interested to see how.
Maybe it's Jar Jar Binks on that throne.
Oh my God! If it's Jar Jar, it's going to be a quick film.
Sludge would be really excited on that.
Anything to see him go down. So, but no. So it's super exciting. Pumped. We're less than a year away from it, and to think about it, we're kind of distracted by this. We've also got the next Toho Godzilla film coming out this year. This November. We're a few months, out from it, so hopefully we'll start seeing something from it soon. But I'm pumped, man. My only complaint is really about the name. Like, I like Godzilla X Kong because it throws back to the Millennium Series films, so that's really, really cool. I like it better than Godzilla and Kong, or another Godzilla versus Kong. But it's the new Empire part. I don't know, man. I don't like that. Maybe it alludes to what's coming, but to me, when they slap that subtitle on there, I don't know. It just feels like a Marvel Universe film now. You know what I mean? You got those subtitles, and I'm like, MonsterVerse is separate, man. I don't need some comic book superhero films, So I don't know. I mean, it's very minute. Who gives a crap? It's a new Empire, but I was just like,
It's just a teaser, so we're just now getting started. So
yeah. So we'll see.
So you think the Star Wars person is just the world Empire?
I don't know, man. Maybe that Star Wars comparison has something to do with the name.
You got that X on there. That X takes you back to Godzilla films from Japan. Whenever I see an X, Godzilla X, whatever. That's what I think about it. I think they are purposely, of course, that's their goal. Make it as vague as possible, and then have you speculate. Have you speculate so much on that movie and get that buzz going. A lot was learned from the Blair Witch and how they approached their marketing, and I think a lot of people are taking their cue way back from that. Because I don't know if you remember Blair Witch, they just did this marketing campaign that was amazing. Yeah, it was super vague, and it was just like it got so many people pumped up, and this is in that same vein. Yes.
I will agree. So I can't wait to see what comes out next. I'm super stoked. I don't know when the next trailer is going to drop.
And I think next you're going to see leaks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. We're gonna be definitely getting leaks, or at some point, leaks of toy images, because that tends to happen pretty regularly. We got toy cons coming up in a few months. So I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be good either way. I'm freaking stoked. Can't wait to see what happens. And I'm excited to finally get a full movie of Godzilla and Kong on the same team. You know what I mean? Going side by side. And I hope, because we
don't know that yet. We're assuming.
Excuse me. Well, I mean, that's true. Godzilla might have to smack him around a little bit at first, but it'll get there. So pretty stoked about it. But so, anyways, we're going from Godzilla and Kong back to Gamera. Everyone's favorite fire-breathing turtle. I think it's the only fire-breathing turtle I know of, but our giant terrapin from Japan. So we're going to hit the second film, and that is Gamera versus Barugon. Here's the trailer. And that was a trailer for Gamera vs. Barugon. Again, this is the second film. They wanted to jump real quick because the first Gamera film was a commercial success for Daiei. And so they wanted to jump right into this one. Wanted to make it a bit more epic and lavish as far as a movie. It came out April 17th, 1966. And it had some interesting pre-production and production issues going on. One of those being that Noriaki Yasa, who directed the original Gamera film, created Gamera, this is the only film in the Showa series that he does not direct. He actually got demoted to special effects director, and they brought in Shigeo Tanaka to direct this film. They will correct that on the next film, though, because this movie was released on a double bill with Daimation, which was also released that same year. Obviously, it was a double bill from Daiei, so it was another series that they were working on. And Daimation actually the idea from Daimation came from the original script idea of Gamera vs. Barugon. Because Gamera vs. Barugon was the guy who wrote the film was a huge fan of the Jotnar from Norse mythology, the giant Jotnar troll, and so he was making like these ice trolls that Gamera was going to fight in this film instead. But then they ended up changing it, decided to go with Barugon, making him more of a dragon type character, and so the ice troll statue went over to Daimation, and then they ended up just replacing it with stone and yada yada so forth. So. We almost got something, almost a Gamera versus Troll type deal thing here. Would been pretty cool. But so it came out in April 17, 1966. Underperformed, even though this film and Daimation would get pretty good reviews. Daimation especially, but this movie got pretty good reviews across the board from film critics and August Ragone and Stuart Galbraith and things like that. But for his second outing, they went kind of as big as they could. They increased the budget as best as they could as well. So in this film, it starts off the very beginning. You see what happened at the end. Gamera shot off in the rocket to Mars. Just so happens a meteor comes crashing into the rocket. It explodes, releases Gamera. Gamera comes flying back to Earth. First thing he does, of course, is take out a dam and blowing things up so he could feed on the fire of this thing by this power plant by the dam, and then just goes off on his business. Senses some other volcano erupting. He's like, "Up, we're going to need some more fire," and he takes off. But then it censors on our main characters, who is the only one I really want to point out is Kaisuke Hirata. He's a pilot that's retiring because his brother during the war had found an opal, giant opal in New Guinea. And, of course, his brother was injured in the war, and he walks around in a cane. He can't make the trip, but he hires his brother, a friend of his, or assuming a friend, just a guy named Onodera, and then another friend of his, to go to New Guinea, to this cave where he has hidden this opal. And they're like, "Well, how do you know it's still there?" They're like, "There's a lot of legends, and the local tribes won't go in this cave. That's why I hid it there. Got to be careful. There's scorpions that'll kill you within 5 minutes." So these three jump on a boat, get down to New Guinea. They find the cave. They find the opal. The one guy, not Hirata or Onodera, I can't remember the other guy's name, he ends up getting stung by a scorpion and gets killed. But Onodera has other plans. He's trying to undermine them and wants the opal for himself. So he sets off a grenade, thinking he's killed Hirata in the cave, and takes off back. Hirata ends up getting rescued by Karen, one of our other lead characters in the local tribe, and they realize that the opal's been taken. She tells them, "Look, the opal's not really an opal, it's an egg." And so they have to book it back to Japan. Well, Onodera's already on his way back to Japan. He's got the opal with him in his cabin room on the ship, and he's gotten hurt, and they have a heat lamp there for him. He accidentally leaves the opal underneath the heat lamp, not knowing it's an egg. Ends up incubating really quickly and hatching into Barugon, who grows very quickly from like a bearded dragon-sized lizard to a full-size kaiju in like literally 2 minutes. We don't care because we just want to see the giant monster anyways. And it just starts wreaking havoc and destroying everything. And of course, he, with all the fire, and then of course he's got this. It's weird because he's got like this long tongue that can shoot out this freezing atmosphere,
like a frog or a chameleon.
Yeah. And then he's got a rainbow beam that comes out of his back spikes that's like super hot. Well, it attracts Gamera. Gamera shows up. They go toe-to-toe for a minute. But then he ends up freezing Gamera. But before he goes to kind of give the finishing blow to Gamera, Gamera ends up suckers him in the face. And one of the things I love about the Gamera films is they didn't care to get bloody from the get-go. And jabs him right in the face. Purple blood's spewing everywhere. And he ends up knocking Gamera over. Gamera passes out from being frozen. And Barugon goes about taking out Japan. And so it's up to Hirata, Karen, and a few others, the scientists, to try and find a way to stop Barugon. Nothing's working so far. They end up trying different missiles and tanks and weapons, and nothing's working. And then they realize that seeing a pile of ashes where one of the jeeps, the rainbow beam, has disintegrated, that the mirrors are still there. And you realize, well, I mean, it's a light, and it's super heated, so they can actually reflect the beam back to him and hopefully kill him. And so they build this massive mirror out of this radar tower and trick him into firing at it. He destroys all the tanks by it, fires the beam shoots back at him, and just, it hope kills him, doesn't kill him, but man, it jacks him up. Like I said, these movies get bloody for what they were back then. Doesn't kill him, he still survives. They're like, crap, there's nothing else we can do. And, I forgot, they were trying to use a diamond to lure him into the lake to drown him, but he swallows the diamond and Onodera at the same time, because we all hate that guy, which was really cool. But so Gamera ends up showing up.
A nicer guy.
Yeah. Swallowed by nicest dude in the world, got swallowed up by Barugon. But then Gamera shows up and does what Gamera does and finishes the job. And just, finally there at the end, bites right into his neck, tusks and all, just locks onto his neck and drags him down to the bottom of this lake and drowns Barugon. And then, beams off into the distance and goes find something else to eat. So that's pretty much the gist of this one. I think it's been a minute since I started. I'll start on this movie.
Okay.
I love this movie. The first three Gamera films are my favorite of the Showas. I really dug Barugon. I just thought the design was really, really cool. The rainbow beam was a little odd, but he shoots freezing air out of his tip of his tongue, so why not? I'll go with the rainbow thing. It's very, very out there, but it worked with what he could do. I loved Gamera in this movie. Like, there's so many shots in this film for me that just kind of, I don't know. There's just like the moment where he's fighting Barugon at the beginning of the first fight, and and most of the time he's walking around. Gamera's on all fours. Like you imagine he does, and he hasn't been standing up. He's been on all fours so far. When he's attacking the dam, he's on all fours. When he showed up here to fight Barugon, he's on all fours. But then there's that moment where like he stands up and lets off that roar that just echoes perfectly with the sound effects, and just looked like it was awesome. I was just like, holy crap, you're about to get jacked. You know, I was like, it was a really cool scene. I'm like, it was one of those scenes kind of like, I would put it on level with when you think of like Godzilla in relation, because obviously Gamera was Dai's answer to Godzilla, would be like one of those moments like when Godzilla first appears in Ghidorah, the three-headed dragon. You know what I mean? And he comes out that moment, you're like, oh, dude, that was a moment there. And there's a couple shots like that in this film with Gamera, which was cool. Again, punching Barugon and taking him out, the bite, the different things. But that scene probably goes down as one of my favorite Gamera scenes ever. So it was super, super cool. Special effects were great in this. Barugon was a really cool monster. I thought they don't know, it was never documented who played Barugon, but it's believed that Ichi, the backup guy that played Gamera in the first film, played him because he was kind of the only other suit actor they had at the time. So, but whoever it was, did a phenomenal job, like moving around in that suit, because I heard that suit was super heavy, especially it took 20 wires total to work Barugon, especially with the head, because the motor in the head was so heavy. I thought the guy did a fantastic job. Special effects, of course, are not on par with Toho because of the budgets, but the special effects were still really, really good. Gamera looked really, really good. My only complaint about the movie, and it's kind of hard to call it a complaint, because the storyline's really good. Like, it's very interesting storyline. I thought this was really, really cool. And the human characters are really good. Like, you really like Harada, and, when his brother gets killed because of Onodera, because it is pretty dark. I mean, Onodera, burns his brother and his wife, his sister-in-law, burn them alive in their house. Like, it's pretty rough, Yeah. So it's very intense with the characters, and then the science is really handled very well. And so the story's really good, and there's no scenes with the human characters I don't like, because it's very good. But the problem is, this is a Gamera movie, and I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of Gamera in it. You know what I mean? It was a lot more Barugon, a lot more humans. But again, I can't complain, because the scenes with Barugon are great, and the human scenes are great, and the story's great. But you don't get Gamera but for a few minutes of the beginning, and then a few minutes at the end to kind of wrap things up, because we suck and can't get the job done, so he comes in and just lays the smack down. Which has its own perks, because the scenes he shows up, he steals the show. Kind of like one of those Joker in the Dark Knight type deal. Like, you don't really care about Batman, you don't really care about Barugon, but when the Joker or Gamera shows up, it's like, oh snap, things are hitting the fan. So that's my only complaint about the movie, was the pace and lack of Gamera through the middle section. But at the same time, the story's really good and the human actor's really good. So I don't really, I'm like, there's a time or two where I'm like, oh yeah, this is a Gamera movie. I got to remember that. Well,
it's like he's not missed because of the storyline and what's going on through the middle of the movie, because you're into it. You're really, really into it, and but then you're like, okay, he's got to be coming back at any time now. It just when you're really expecting Gamera to come in. I thought it did good. A la 2014 Gareth Edwards Godzilla. Very similar to that, I would think. As far as how much screen time Godzilla has shared compared to the storyline in between and before and stuff. So I like this movie, man. Like the first three, the trilogy, the original trilogy, and I'll say why I call this the original trilogy once we start getting into some of these other Gamera films. I love Gamera, but after the next film, things take a pretty bad turn for the worse. This was great. It's really, really cool. If you looked at it like a Star Wars scenario, you've got a great start like New Hope was, and then you end Return of the Jedi, and we'll talk about the next film with Gamera's Gals on just an action epic movie.
but you got the meat and just the tone in the middle like Empire was. This was kind of the same way. So I love it, man. I think it's great. I love the way Gamera looks. There's, like I said, my only complaint on the movie, I can't even really call a complaint because unfortunately the complaint was still good. It's just kind of worked that way. So that's my thoughts on it. When do you guys go next? What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Ruben.
All right. Well, one of my major complaints about the movie, when I'm watching this, I said, this should be called Barugon versus Gamera, because you see a whole lot more of Barugon than you do of Gamera, you know. So I'm watching this, and it's funny that you mentioned that. You get the story's great, so you're into it, and you're seeing that they're fighting Barugon, and they're trying everything, and nothing's going to work. I'm like, man, what's going to happen? Oh, wait a minute, where's Gamera at? You know, you almost forget that Gamera is going to show up at some point and lay the smack down on him, but you get so into this story that you forget that you're watching a Gamera movie. You're like, man, they try all these, with the diamond and that doesn't work, and then they try everything.
Yeah, like even that moment, like after they do the diamond fails, and then they do the mirror, and it doesn't work. There's that moment where Hirata just kind of walks over, he just kind of puts his head down, like this, and Karen looks at him. I'm like, I feel you, dude. What the crap are we going to do now? It's like
exactly. And then all of a sudden, a light bulb came on. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Where's Gamera at? We need Gamera over here, you know? And then all of a sudden I remember, Gamera's he's the one that's going to defeat him. But I did find I found it hard to believe they said that Barugon, that as he walked, everything drops to negative 20 degrees below zero, right?
Right.
They said that during the movie. And he, at first he's walking and nothing freezes. And then they show a couple of scenes where stuff freezes. But then I'm like, well, what happens when he gets in the water? Why doesn't the water freeze?
Yeah, they never answered that one.
They never even answered that. I'm like, he should have froze right there. He should have been frozen solid into the ice, and then Gamera could just take care of him while he's frozen. So I thought that was kind of funny. That I'm like, well, but that his weakness is water. I'm like, well, that makes sense. But I thought it was because the water would freeze around him and somebody get injured or something like that. But other than that, I thought the movie was great. The special effects were good. And you hit on another point. So I was talking about RJ about this earlier. I love those Showa Gameras. He goes, especially since like if you watch a Godzilla movie and people complain about the special effects, he goes, you just send them. He goes, go watch the Gamera movie and tell me what you think about the effects now. Right. The effects are subpar, but I still thought it was a lot of fun. This one, I didn't think the special effects were so bad that I would say it's worse than the Godzilla movie. Maybe not the original or whatever, but this one's on par with, I enjoyed it just as much as I did,
Well, it's definitely, I mean, when you look at
Monster Zero or stuff like that, it's right up with it.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you go back and you look at like Yongary, Monster from the Deep, or
Yappa,
the Terrapin Monsters, and like special effects in the Gamera films were still way better, at least in these first three, than those films, for sure. Not the first Godzilla.
I'm not saying they're perfect, but I'm just saying that I don't think there's enough negative there for it to be knocked. As far as the special effects go, come on, we're talking about a turtle, right? And I thought they improved on the fire breathing on this one.
Yeah, that's what I say. I thought they stepped up a level from the original Gamera movie to this one. I thought, definitely.
They did.
Well, I'm looking too, especially with the fire breathing, like they did, because they did very well with those this time around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought. In other words, all in all, I thought it was an improvement. In all levels, as far as the storytelling even goes, and the special effects. This is an improvement. So. They actually stepped up their game for this one, and apparently, from what I'm told, it's gonna peak in the next one.
That it will.
Yeah, it's gonna peak in the next one, and that's per Sludge and per RJ, who both have said that that's the one. That's the one Showa movie you cannot miss. Gamera movie cannot miss. In the Showa era, is the next one we're going to do. This one, I thought. I mean, it must be really good because I really like this one. And my Stompdown rating goes off of what Sludge and what RJ told me, so I left a little bit of room because there's going to be improvement in the next one, from what I'm told. And they're trustworthy sources for the most part. Some guys, But I enjoyed it. I thought the story was. You hit on it. The story was good enough that. I was watching it and I was like, man, I forgot about Gamera because the story's so good. These and it kind of reminded me a lot. I'm going to say, I don't know which one was made first, but the Korean movie we watched, they had a lot of similarities. Did you notice that? Like the
host or Young Gary or
Young Gary, Young Gary. The South Korean movie we just did. Young Gary, right?
Well, we did Space Monster and Wong Mongwi, which was the last one.
That one. That's the one where the one that dies in the water, and I just thought that there was a lot of similarities there. I think this movie got knocked off. That's what I think it is. But I think they got away with the gore because it was purple rather than red.
Yeah.
So I said, man, that's really bloody. I said, but it's purple, so kids can watch it and not
freak out.
For some reason, it's just not as gory. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but to me, seeing purple blood is not as gory as seeing Godzilla cut up by Mechagodzilla.
Right.
Where that was bright red blood, and that one was like, whoa, and this one was like, whoa, but it's purple, so it's okay.
It's fine then.
It'll work.
It'll be all right. Because when you think about it, how the heck does he aim that rainbow? And it's a very specific rainbow, but it's a very powerful rainbow that he shoots. And because they're getting ready to shoot all those missiles at him, and then he rainbows over all those missiles, and they just blow up. And that rainbow melts everything, right? It disintegrates. It disintegrates all those
everything.
Yep. It disintegrates except for the mirror. Except for the mirrors, I guess they reflect it back. But all in all, man, this is the first time I've watched a Showa Gamera. I saw the first one a long time ago. One that I didn't watch.
That didn't watch for the last episode.
They didn't watch. But I think that when I watched it, I was not very interested in it. Versus this one, where I sat, and watched it, and I said, man, these are actually pretty good. This one's actually pretty good. So, no complaints. Like I said, the only reason my stop rating goes is because I'm hearing there's going to be a lot better one coming up.
Oh, it'll definitely jump up.
Well, that's kind of an unfair judgment, though, Ruben. I mean, just because you hear something's coming down the line.
That is true, and you know what? If I watch the next one and I don't like it, I'm gonna have to say I've been lied to.
I think you will agree.
Well, and we do know that your source also stated that Gamera was more popular than King Kong.
Yeah,
and he was wrong.
Some of that,
but this source is also agreed with your own flesh and blood. Okay, so. But
it's funny. In researching this movie, I came across how the Blu-rays and everything for this, and the commentary on them was done by August. Right? And I'm like, Sludge should have led with that.
I didn't even think about that. I should have been like, commentaries done by August Ragon. Boom.
I would have said he done it. Did he do any Kong movies? But. Yeah. Of course, that still doesn't go to popularity. But I said, "Hey, man, he did the commentary on that." That's cool. Now I'm sorry, I gave him all to RJ. I had him. I bought him, and I gave him. And RJ goes, "Can I have him?" I said, "Yeah, go ahead and take him." I'm not much of a Gamera guy anyway, so I gave him all to him. And now I'm like, man, I kind of wish I had him back. I forgot, and I gave him to him because I went down into I keep most of my Blu-rays right there, back here. See this chest of drawers?
Okay, yeah.
It's full of that's my DVD Blu-ray storage full of movies instead of clothes. RJ told him give him the Goodwill.
RJ, you want these? No, they're going to Goodwill. I need room for my movies.
So, but I have some. I had all the Gamera and stuff over in the living room because I ran out of room here. And I went down there to get. I said, let me go grab and I'll watch the Blu-ray or DVD. I don't remember which one I had, and they weren't there. And then I remembered, oh man, I gave them away. I gave them to RJ. So then I went and watched it on I went to the Plex, and I started watching it on there, but I wanted to watch the dub version, but there is no. Is there a dub version on the Plex?
Yeah, it's on the Plex. Yeah,
that's the one I didn't find it. And then I said, well, it was on Amazon Prime, but it was also in Japanese. So I just watched it with the Japanese subtitles. It's fine. I don't know if there's much difference because I started reading there's differences in some of the cuts.
There is, well, and I didn't talk about this at the beginning, but so when they first brought it over, the plan was to release this movie theatrically in America, and obviously without the lack of success, it didn't. They American International Pictures picked it up, and Daiei had an international dub done for this film, but when the American Internationals bought it, they stripped the dubbing, and then they got another dubbing done, of course, which was picked up. So they had that one, but they cut out like 8 minutes of footage or something like that. Then Sandy Frank ends up picking up the film, does a whole new dub for it. So there's 2 dubs out there. I think the only ones I have is the Sandy Frank dubs, as far as what's on the Plex. But there are 2 dubs out there. Now the Sandy Franks weren't the most accurate, but they were the more popularized ones because originally when this one was released, it was released as War of the Monsters. But then when Sandy Frank got the rights to it and redid everything and re-released it, then it was released as Gamera versus Barugon for the first time here in America. And that was in like the early 80s or something like that.
Exactly, and then it went into public domain for a while. I did, from researching this movie, it went into public domain. So I was scared to go watch anything that was dubbed, so I just watched it in Japanese. I didn't want to miss something.
I think overall, I watched the dubbed, and it was pretty good, pretty decent.
Well, let me ask you: in the dub version, that lamp in the Japanese version is athlete's foot. He gets some kind of fungus in the jungle.
Right? Yeah. The heat lamp. Yeah.
And that's what he
has. Infrared lamp. Yeah. He says, "Oh, you got athlete's foot." Okay, I was wondering about that. So I wonder if that translated. I wonder what they did for that.
The only one spot, and I told Sludge before we got started, I kind of laughed because at one point, I think right when Gamera's coming back, there towards the end, everybody's standing in this one room, and on the dubbed, you have a guy screaming for everybody to run, everybody to get out of the room because Gamera's coming. And everybody just kind of stood there looking around, and not one person moved. Everybody just stood there, and I thought, either they're not listening to him, or something's off in the translation here, because everybody's looking like, okay, what do we do? And this guy's steady, get out, run. Yeah.
I think I saw it in the Japanese version too, when he's saying to take off, and everybody's kind of
they're just kind of looking.
Nobody listens to him.
What are we supposed to do? What? Yeah. But I do think about 30 seconds goes by, and then there's just the guy and the girl, I can't remember their names, and that are just standing there, and everybody's gone behind them, but they're still there. Yeah. It was
still
pretty
there.
cool.
I can't forget the girl's name because she's Karen. Nowadays, the word that name is synonymous with it. I'm like, oh, they had the name of Karen.
Man, and that was my only. I didn't think about it. And I don't know why, because it bugs me every time I watch it. And my wife was giving me a hard time about this when I was watching it too. Is her eyes? Okay, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like every scene, she's got this look like this.
Oh yeah,
like The Rock. You know what I mean? Like that one eye's open more than the other one. And I'm like, and every time you see her, she is so intently staring. I'm like, what is she looking at? Like, and that one eye is so much wider than the other one as far as the way it's open. Drove me crazy. Sorry.
Right. And I think, and I'm just looking here, all of the names of the characters in this are Japanese names or Asian names, except for Karen.
Yeah,
I mean, and I thought,
New Guinea.
Where did that all come from? So it was
apparently in New Guinea, everyone's got Americanized names over there. So because that wasn't changed in the dub.
Well, I don't know. Was that Chief's name Philip or something?
Yeah, we need to go talk. Let's go talk to Chief Philip. Bob's around the corner, so John's down there making a
King
steak.
Julian, he could be King Julian. I guess King Julian.
I know. I saw it. I mean, this was the first time I saw it. I hadn't seen it, and going from the black and white to the colorized, in the next movie, I thought was a tremendous step up, and everything was great. The movie, I thought overall was just a fantastic, and I think of the Stomps, I gave the highest, and that's unusual for me.
Yeah, you did actually give it,
but I enjoyed it, just basically on the things that you guys or we've sat here and talked about is. The storyline was just great. I was into it, man. I was I was loving
yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
and you do almost forget about Gamera at a point, and so it's like,
You do.
well, but when he comes back and does his thing, and that's what makes it just great. I mean, when he sinks his sinks into his neck, I mean, it was just like, dude,
He's done for.
Oh yeah,
Done.
this
It's
one's
over.
Yeah, you almost want to hit pause or something on the TV just to see how much time's left, because
Yeah,
this thing,
because and as soon as he bites into the blood flow,
Oh, yeah.
there's just it's just a sea of purple just comes pouring out.
Yeah, and especially he's got him there in the water, and he's in all that purple, and then all of a sudden he brings him down 20 feet, and the water clears from the purple, and you can just see. I mean, the scene was really looked good.
Yeah,
and so I'm definitely a thumbs up on this movie. This movie I thought was fantastic.
yeah. So, well, then I think it's time. Let's find out what the Stompdown rating is. Stompdown rating time. All right, so overall, this movie got a solid 3. From Mark, of course, gave the highest of the 3.5. Me and Ruben both rocked a 3 on this one, and in all honesty, we rocked a 3 on this one only because we know what's coming next, or at least I know what's coming next, and Ruben's been told what's coming next. Because I'm like, man, I was teetering to 3.5 with you, Mark, but I was like, but I know I'm gonna have to rank the next one higher, so I'm gonna give this one a solid 3. Because the only complaint I had was.
Yeah.
What's
not even really a complaint,
I just, how can that be? If we did this back in '67, if you guys were around, you wouldn't be ranking it because, well, what's coming next? This movie is where you get that.
Well,
that stomp.
That's true.
Then you would, then you would have to say, so what would you compare it to? So what movie is closest to 1966 for Godzilla, or the Godzilla Toho?
Well, same year.
be-
See, now this year alone, 60. Well, now 7 monster movies came out in Japan this year in '66.
You're right. That's right.
'Cause it hit America till '67. But so '66, you had this. You had the Dalmatian trilogy. You had Ebra, Monster Horror from the Deep. So Godzilla Sea Monster came out, and then you had what was that? There was another one that came out at the same time. But I mean, 7 movies came out. So I mean, you'd compare it to Godzilla versus the Sea Monster.
That or you to me. I don't compare it to what's coming. I compare it to where it came from. The original first Gamera movie, I thought it was good, and they stepped up. And to me, when the next movie we review comes out, if it's better, then it's going to step up again. Not because of what's coming in the future.
True.
From the
okay.
right,
So then I could safely say I could do a 3.5 on this one. Then definitely a 3.5 on this one because it's really good.
I'm staying with my 3. I mean, but I still think either way. Yes, Mark's right. I penalized it because I know what's coming, but now you clarified it more and goes, well, what are you comparing it to? Is this movie better than Godzilla versus the Sea Monster in y'all's opinion? I would say
I don't know, man. Like to be honest, I don't know which one I would enjoy more. I would say at least the same. At least the same.
Yeah.
Because I mean, now for Godzilla movies, Godzilla Sea Monster is one of the, I don't want to say bottom of the totem pole because it was still entertaining, but one of the lower. I mean, there was a major step
that's what
down.
I'm saying. You're exactly.
For Godzilla.
I'm like, if you're talking about that, would I give? But then you're talking about, okay, when it comes to Godzilla movies, it's in the bottom of the totem pole. But if you were to rank it with a Gamera movie, it's not so bad, as far as that goes. So I would stay with my 3 either way, I think. In my opinion. Matter of fact, 3.5. I might be the Sea Monster, I might give Sea Monster a 2.5 instead of a 3. Right. This one a little bit better than it,
Right.
Yeah.
Because it is one of the weaker Godzilla entries. I mean, thank goodness for Son of Godzilla and all those other ones that make it look really good. But I think I would stick with my 3 either way, just because it's right in the middle, on a little sweet spot that I like as far as monster movies goes. It's not a bad movie, but of course it's not. If you're going to talk about at the time, is it better than Godzilla and Kong? Is it better than Godzilla 54? No, it's. I don't think it. I don't think the answer is yes on either one of those. That doesn't make it a bad movie, though. Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, solid 3. Could be argued 3.5 on this one. Definitely worth a watch. It is. It's the Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy, so to speak, and stepped it up from the first one. And I think it's a super, super good movie. Now, 1966, there was definitely one film overseas that came out on top for being the freaking Mac Daddy of the monster movies released that year, and wasn't Godzilla, in my opinion. But this one was definitely one of the, I think, good ones. I don't understand why it wasn't a big success, because it was tons of fun. But it'll get very exciting for the next one, and we better be ready for the next one, because after the next one, it's
you're gonna have to say some of that positive energy for those other.
Really got to, because we will definitely, in my opinion, Artie's opinion, hit the pinnacle of the Showa era with the next film, Gamera versus Gyaos. Of course, Gyaos is his arch enemy, his King Ghidorah, and we will hit the pinnacle mark of the Showa films. And then it is a very fast roller coaster downhill from every other film. I don't,
and it's funny. The funny thing is, Godzilla went through the same thing, except Godzilla came back up.
Yeah, definitely did. Yeah, unfortunately, Gamera did not.
It hit a valley though.
Yeah,
and Gamera hit the valley,
and there was a chance. And when we get towards the end, there was a chance of a good comeback for Gamera, but legal issues and finances. They had an idea. They had a plan for a new film that a lot of fans still want to this day. That would have turned out great, but they even shot some test footage for it. But unfortunately, due to finances and things that happened, it not happening. So they were on the verge of a comeback after Gamera vs. Zigra, but
so it was a timing issue with them. Yeah, it's a timing issue.
Huge timing.
Godzilla had the time. Yeah, Godzilla had the time to dig itself out of a hole where Gamera did not.
Nope, not so much. So, all right, so that was Gamera versus Barugon, and normally, this is where we would be going. It's time to test your might, but unfortunately, things have just kind of happened to where we can't do test your might tonight.
Well, I think what's great that leads into this is that we're talking about how movies goes through a valley and takes a real dip, and I know Sludge is getting ready to talk about one of his favorite.
This is
favorite.
I'm hearing that poor Frank was attacked.
It
could be.
For making an
Look, I mean, I'm not going to say Frank was attacked. I'm not going to say pay was docked or who knows. But if we're talking about the bottom of the barrel fall of monster films, Kong may be one of the greatest, but Kong also has one of the worst in its repertoire, and that is Son of Kong, which I had to freaking watch again. I'm telling you. I was even watching maybe I'll be able to at least sit through it and enjoy something. No, absolutely not. I hate this movie more and more
wait.
every time I watch this freaking film.
Are you telling us you didn't sit through and watch the movie?
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
I was just hoping that,
I sounded like
to
me.
Enjoy it. This time he could.
Yeah, I thought maybe I might be able to enjoy it because I've seen it a few times. Unfortunately, no, it was absolutely horrible. I hate every freaking moment of this movie, down to him playing with his little cut finger and she trying to fix it, and then him holding the hand up in the way. This movie's garbage, man. It's freaking garbage. This is like I think I would willingly watch the '98 Godzilla film over Son of Kong ever again. Like, wow, I would probably.
Well, I think
I would probably enjoy it. Like, I would be like, you know what? I'm not watching Son of Kong. That's fine. Like, I will take your freaking cup of tea. Or he's pregnant or whatever. Over freaking Son of Kong. I hate this movie. If I have to watch it again, the gloves will come off, and I will dig into the nasty of the terrible monster movies. For everybody, because God, that movie's rough. I don't know how anybody can enjoy Son of Kong. Nobody can enjoy that movie. Nobody.
I'm thinking Sludge has a problem with any movie that starts with "son of."
You could be right.
Because
most of them suck. I mean, Son of Kong, Son of Dracula, Son of Frankenstein. Those were the worst of those series. That's for dang sure.
You're forgetting about a very important son.
I think important. I think he really likes that.
No, I'm getting there. Okay, I'm getting there because I want I've got to defend the father somewhat, but you do have Son of Godzilla. which is it's overall atrocious. Yeah, it's pretty rough. It's not 98 rough, but it does have the fat gray little retard. And I can't stand that character, dude. I don't know what it is, man. He makes me mad. He makes me angry, and I just want to. Oh my god! Or like the scene where he's like the tail swinging, and he's like jumping over his dad's tail. I'm like, what is the point in this freaking scene? Like, I can't stand it. And then it gets even worse with Godzilla's revenge. It's like, my father told me to stand up to me. Whatever, dude. And that's the worst scene in Godzilla Final Wars too. Like every scene in Final Wars that makes me want to gouge my eyes out is with him in it. Like. There was no point in him in that movie whatsoever.
So it's his design? Is it his design you don't like, or just him in general?
I think it's his design and his character. Like, even Destroy All Monsters, like, he was wasting screen time. Like, and then they finally beat Ghidorah, and he stands on top of like, woohoo, look at me. I'm like, you didn't do nothing. Like, roll that fat kid down a hill, because like he did nothing.
So
to hell. He lit a ring around a tail.
So are you okay with the Heisei version of, even though they don't call him that, he's like baby Godzilla?
No, that one was
Godzilla
great
Jr.?
because that one was so much more productive and looked better. Like there was a point, and he served a purpose, and his purpose got better to the point that we just got Godzilla's birthday last year on Godzilla Day. They did Godzilla versus Gigan Rex, and that's who you got. Like when you listen to that's who you got. When you listen to the beginning, they brought back Megumi Odaka, and she does that little intro, and you see the shadow scene. That's Junior, you know what I mean, from Godzilla vs. Destroya in that movie, and that's freaking epic, you know. So he was great because he actually I'm going to take it back. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla was great. I love the design. He played a purpose, had a role. We could totally skip Space Godzilla and go right to Godzilla vs. Destroya, because when he's in that little semi-mania, fat, bulbous green thing, like, he didn't serve a point. But the one scene where I would have been okay with him in that movie, they cut from the film. So in Space Godzilla, when Space Godzilla first shows up on the island, and I hate the way he sounds in that movie too, that little whatever. It sounded like a freaking Teletubby. It looked like a Teletubby. And so when Space Godzilla traps him, in the crystal cocoon or whatever. Okay, originally what they shot was when he trapped him and Space Godzilla takes off. Godzilla goes over, man, and is just wailing on this thing, trying to save his son, and he can't. And then he, out of anger, turns and takes off after Space Godzilla. Realizes he's got to stop him in order to free his son. That moment, I'd have been like, there was a purpose. You know what I mean? Like, that would have made this movie significantly better. They cut it out. I'm like, y'all are freaking idiots. But then we get him in God vs. Destroya, and he's super, super awesome.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the Final Wars, and then that whole scene at the end where they had that little kid and him are like standing between Godzilla and Don Fry. I'm like, get out of the way, let Godzilla and Don Fry go, because this is about to get good. You know what I mean? Like, if any human's going to go toe to toe with the Zilla, it's going to be Don Fry. You know, but no, and so I can't. Yeah, if it's son of, I can't think of a son of movie I like that I think about.
I can't, because you mentioned the Son of Dracula. I like Daughter of Dracula.
Daughter of Dracula was good. It was better.
Yeah,
better than Son.
Yeah, that was better than his daughter. But
no,
I can't think of one off the top
there's
of
not
my
a
head.
Son of movie that is worth watching. There's just not, unfortunately.
So we can say Son of Kong's your favorite Son of movie, then, since you've watched it the most.
What?
No,
yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. So, like, do I choose between the hairy white one or the bald fat gray one? That is like, man, that's hell. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. What's eternity in hell look like? Deciding between the white ape or the fat gray lizard. I don't know which one to choose because that's terrible. Yeah. That is the worst thing ever. I don't know. I can't decide. I really can't decide.
I'm glad you
luckily
enjoyed
we're not asking you to. We won't ask him.
That's
we won't
right.
put him on the
Thank you,
spot
because
and ask
that's
him.
already like I feel my anxiety shooting through the roof.
He's just
trying
popping
to
out
think.
sweat over here. And
I'm
stuff.
like, man, that's just terrible. So, all right, Son of Kong still sucks, and so does every other Son of movie. And if you don't like it, too bad. It's our show, and I said sucks, but so that's what there's to it. But anyways, so that wraps it up for this episode, man, and we're pretty stoked. We got the Lorax's birthday episodes, the next one you're going to see, and he is picked since we have started doing the TV series for his birthday, and you've always been a big fan of this show. I remember you showing me the show as a kid. Kolchak, the Night Stalker, actually started with a movie before the series came. So from Mark's birthday episode, the next episode, we're going to start with the Night Stalker, 1972.
I believe that is correct.
I think it was. So this was the film that kicked off the series, if I'm remembering correctly, because it's been a long time. He investigates a series of deaths in Vegas that may be by a vampire, I think, something like that.
Right?
Yeah.
You just brought back memories. I remember that.
Yeah, man. So it's going to be a great episode. You're going to love this one. Kolchak, of course, a very cult classic. I mean, honestly, like, I know Columbo's not like the same genre, but like I don't know why, but every time you hear Columbo, somebody's going to be like, Kolchak. I'm like, no. Columbo's got the weird eye thing going on. Looking at him.
Yeah.
But Columbo was awesome because he was, he handled the dark and mysterious and the monsters. So definitely don't miss that one. It's going to be super, super cool. I'm sure we will come up with some kind of crazy birthday festivity for Mark to get tortured by.
Turning 29.
And lie detector test will be on the episode the next one for sure. So get some true answers out of this man. But anything else you guys want to add for Gamera versus Barugon?
I'm good.
No, I'm good. I have more respect for Barugon now. I've never, like I said, this is the first time me watching this movie, and I always see comparisons: Barugon versus Barugon.
I never understand why.
I never understood that.
It has to be just because the names are so close.
It's got to be. I mean, because that's the only thing I can think of. Because there's
I see that. I saw that online. I said, this makes no sense. Two different monsters, two different.
Yep.
And unpopular opinion, Barugon would probably beat Barugon if they went 1-on-1.
I would go. My money would be on Barugon. Yeah. Like between him and Barugon, my money's on Barugon for sure. Yeah. But all right, well, man, guys, thank you all again so much. Make sure go follow us on Instagram. Join the group on Facebook because again we pump out extra things all week for you guys. We have a great community where we all talk about things, talk about the news, and just have a blast together. So go please join us on there, and then go follow everybody else on all of our buddies that we've got on the network. With Give Me Back My Action Movies, they just celebrated their 100th episode with Demolition Man, great Stallone movie. Then Give Me Back My Horror Movies, and of course the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling and the Cool Cats over at Good Beer Bad Movie Night. Go give them a follow, check out their shows, and we appreciate it. This is Sludge. Oh wait, what? Ruben's got something to say.
I got a correction for you. Demolition Man is not a Stallone movie. It's a Sandra Bullock movie. Okay, I just want to put that out there.
Don't ask me where that came from. I don't know.
Stallone is
Demolition Man?
Yes,
Demolition Man, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he's not the star. Sandra Bullock is the star.
Okay. Okay.
Like Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Right. That's where we're going.
Okay.
Now we got it. Okay.
It's starting to come in clear.
Yeah.
Now.
Ruben probably owns a pair of those little head things, in that movie. I bet Ruben's got a pair hiding somewhere. So
that's what it is.
Yep. All right. So it's Bullock's movie, Demolition Man. Go check that out for sure. So, all right. So again, got Sludge here
and the Lorax
and the Grand Master in Texas.
Y'all have a good night.
Have a good one.
Good night, y'all.